Well, of course, we do welcome everyone to the February meeting of the Affordable Housing Implementation Committee. And we have the agenda that is prepared, and we will now have the roll call. I think by Benita. Bob.
Yes. Okay. Glenda Ange. I believe she's on the phone. Okay. Laura Beatty. Lisa Brown.
Present.
Howard Burkott.
Howard Burchett.
Burchett.
Yep, here.
Okay. Nicole Diggs. Leah Everett Green.
Here.
Courtney James. She's not going to be here, excused. Shannon Judd.
Courtney just came on.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thomas O'Rourke. Cornell Richards. Dennis Sanders. Humberto Trejo. Angela Vick Lewis. And Jennifer Wright. Okay, that's the roll.
Thank you. The agenda we will approve the minutes. We'll have DHA updates, hear from community development, and then open it up for public comments. There are no changes that we need to make to the agenda. We will move forward. Do we adopt the agenda?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
All motion.
Thank you, Leah. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please raise your hand or unmute and say aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And the minutes. Hopefully you've had a chance to look over the minutes of the last meeting, which took place in November. Any questions or updates, changes to the minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes from November 2nd, 2023?
I can move to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Courtney. And is
I'll
that a second,
second.
Leah? Thank you.
I'll second.
All those in favor, please let it be known by the sign of aye or raised hand.
Aye.
Okay. And any opposed? Thank you very much. We are making good pace. Mr. Scott, any updates from DHA? Or I guess Mr. Snell.
Yes.
Oh.
Benita, do you want to bring that up?
Yes, I'm bringing
Okay.
it up now.
Once again, for those that came in after I said it, Happy New Year, and it's good to see you all this evening. Just want to spend a few moments giving you an update on some of our accomplishments and just to let you know the progress that we are making as we move forward with primarily focusing on the DHA Downtown Neighborhood Plan, which we refer to as DDNP, and included within that to give you a quick update on what's happening with our Choice Neighborhood Initiative. You can go to the next slide, Benita, I'm sorry.
No problem. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
What I thought we would do today was, as part of this, is in the new year's just revisit with our primary focus of what was taking place within the DDNP. You know, there were 7 primary sites that we have focused on as part of this. You know, and the wonderful thing now is we take a look at this, the slide here, is that I can now start, it's almost like a piece of artwork here. I can now start actually to fill in some of these illustrations with actual developments that are taking place. So if you take a look at the work that we completed at the J.J. Henderson and Joyce, These are the actual buildings as we fill these in right now that has taken place there with that development. I will go Forest Hill Heights. Just quickly to tell you that we are underway with that development. Last year, we achieved completion of the negotiations of the master development agreement with our development partner. This is a multi-phase site. If my math is correct, they're close to about 700 units that are going to be built on the site. We are now moving forward with phase one of that, which is about 120 units of a proposed senior housing that's going to go on phase one. We have submitted the low-income housing, the 4% tax credit application to North Carolina Housing that was submitted in January. And we are continuing with the actual site planning for that site, which includes all of the engineering planning and work and submissions that will take place with the city. So that's where we are with that site at this particular point. South Side, that is actually a city initiative. And Mr. Johnson, I did hear from the developer that's moving forward with South Side. Last week, they indicated that they should be moving forward with their issuance of the tax-exempt bonds for that second phase, and they are going to be moving forward with that relatively soon there. And Mr. Johnson, am I correct? I think it's about 100 units that's going in.
Yes, you're correct. It's a total of 100 affordable units that are going on that site. It's phases 3 and 4. One phase has 60 units. The other phase has 40 units. They're right next to each other.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Fayette Place, again, we were successful in completing the negotiations on that site for the master development agreement. We are also in the planning stages of that. Right now we're focused on the actual for the first phase of it is what we call 1B and 1C, which includes a 4% tax credit transaction, and we are looking at the possibility of a 9% transaction. The first phase of that is about 190 units that we are looking at. Right now, we're trying to work through all of the site planning aspects of that project. That is for the first phase. And also the first phase will include a home ownership piece. We are projecting overall, and please forgive me if I don't get all my numbers correct, but I think there's about 40 or so town homes that are going on there, what we call home ownership opportunities, along with the multifamily, which is part of the first phase also. But right now the focus is on the multifamily pieces. We are actually we are at the point where we think we are agreeable on the location of those initial phases on the site, and we are going to be working and submitting that to the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency for some of their initial input on the location, because a lot of it, there are certain setbacks and things, of course, that we have to meet for the city. But then because we have the freeway coming through, we have the project has to be certain setbacks from the freeway and all of that stuff. And we want to make sure we get that cleared with NCHFA as we go through talking about parking variances and those things. So that's some of the sausage making that's going on with the planning process at this point. But we hope to be moving forward with additional community engagement as we go through this planning process, where we will be presenting this information back to the community, the stakeholders, to let them know where we are in the process. I'll be talking more about 519 East Main and Liberty, which is our CNI site also. And then the other site, Hunt Street, that's a city site. And then the DHA office in county. Initially, we were focused on the Forest Hill Heights and Fayette Place. I want to let you know that we have picked this site back up and we're starting to look at our options for the DHA office and county criminal justice site. Next. Here, I want to spend a couple minutes with you just talking about the 519 East Main and Liberty phases. And this is our CNI, this is our Choice Neighborhood Initiative site. As you know, if you look here, as you look here on this slide, number one, that indicates the Elizabeth Street apartments. That is under construction as we speak. Site 2 and 3 is what we refer to Commerce. That is the Commerce. Commerce is actually 2 developments. One portion is a family and one portion is a seniors. The number 4 indicates Dillard Street, which is actually it's a little different from the way it's configured here, but that is phase 4, which is now Dillard Street. On Dillard Street, we have we received the 9% credits for the 9% low-income housing tax credit for that. And then for 2 other phases of Dillard Street, we have submitted the 4% low-income housing tax credit applications for those as well. And the last piece, which is 5, which we call East Main Street, that will be the last phase on the site. You can go to the next slide. This is Elizabeth Street, which was number 1 on the previous slide. If you have been by our site, well, you know that is under construction right now. Of course, we closed that transaction the first quarter of 2023. Of course, all the demolition has been completed, construction underway. There's 72 units. We are running about 2 months behind on this because of some unexpected site conditions. But in our construction meeting on Monday, our construction contractor indicated that they are in communications with all of our subs at this point, where they're going to try to ramp up the manning on this job so they can get us back on schedule. But if you see there, those towers there, they're actually the elevator towers. And that tower that's the closest, probably closest to you from looking at the slide, you can't see, but some of the plumbing stubs have already been put in place coming out of the ground for that particular building. So they'll be setting up the foundations, getting ready to put the piers in place and start the process of pouring the foundation. Once the foundations go in, and then we start all of the vertical construction, which will move fairly rapidly. Next slide, please. This is showing this is Commerce Street. And you may have heard early on, Mr. Johnson commented that we were preparing for the financial closing of this transaction. Yes, it has taken us a little while. It's working through both houses of HUD that we've been working this transaction under. The traditional RAD side was a rental assistance demonstration, and also the CNI side. So we had to get approval on both sides for this transaction. So hopefully we will be closing this deal sometime before the end of March and be ready to start construction. The pictures here is actually of the demolition that has taken place there at the site. We have completed the demolition for that site in preparation to start the site work once we get to closing. And just quickly, I mentioned this up front when we're talking about what we call DDMP Phase 2, which consists of Fair Place, Forest Hill Heights, and the DHA office site, in which I mentioned we're in the planning stages of each of these sites at this particular point. And, you know, some of the other sites that are part of our DDMP and work that's taking place downtown, if you been downtown, there's another project which we're engaged in, which is 300 East Main, which is in conjunction with the county. Which is across from our office and Catter Corner to the health building there, the county health building. If you've seen it, construction has moving very rapidly with that building. It has been topped out. They're putting in the windows. So these are other efforts that are related to the work that we are doing in the downtown area. Any questions?
I had a quick question. I didn't see it in the picture. How tall is the Liberty Street apartments?
It's about 3 stories.
Okay.
I think it's 3 stories.
Any other questions, Mr. Snell? We certainly thank you for that update. It looks like we're making progress in a number of areas. Do you have any additional information? Or?
No, we're excited. Just be on the lookout for sometime, hopefully in April, for the groundbreaking for Commerce Street. We'll be sending out some notice, probably April, May. We haven't set a date for that, but just to give you a heads up, as you look at your calendar, we will be getting out some additional information about that. You know, we are very excited that we are, you know, all of our excitement, the culmination is actually, I know the proof is in the pudding, and I think it's when you break ground and you start seeing units come out of the ground, that's actually the evidence of work that's taking place. But we're happy to see the progress that we are making. Sometimes it's slow, but we're getting there.
I have a quick question. You may have mentioned this, so I apologize if I missed it. You said you were 2 months behind on the Elizabeth. What is the expected timeline now?
So we are talking about January, February of 25.
Okay. Okay.
Hoping to make some of that up.
Thank you. Okay, if there are no further questions, I think we're ready to transition to Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. Before I want to begin, I know that Ms. Shannon Judd has joined us. One of our members is on the is present. So Benita, if you make note of that. Benita, are you able to pull up the spreadsheet that I provided?
Let me pull it up. I'll pull it up.
Okay, thank you. And while she's doing that, my presentation is going to be relatively short. What I'm going to do is give you a brief update on the financials for the Forever Home Durham Affordable Housing Program. I should have brought out my presentation to make sure everybody's oriented to the revenue. I just didn't to think about that in the different funding sources. But what I will do is actually just go to the bottom lines when she pulls it up and share with you where we are in terms of our spending and where we are projected to go. I'll propose that at our next meeting, I'll go kind of line by line, as we have done before. We did, I think, early last year, and went category by category. But just to orientate everyone to this sheet, what this represents is the expenditures under the Forever Home Durham Affordable Housing Program. Don't let all the numbers fool you or confuse you. It's not that it looks more difficult than what it is. And Benita, if you can enlarge it, that would be helpful. So just to refresh for those who have not seen it or cannot see it, what we have is a list of all of the various categories for the Forever Home Doing program. The one that we're looking at right now is homelessness. And then what it does is actually breaks down every contract that we have in Forever Home Doing. And then actually it shares how much money we've expended, if we've expended any. Then it also has the actuals, and then it has the projections as well towards the end on what we will spend as we move forward. If you remember, we did because of COVID extend the Forever Home Doing plan for 2 years to FY26, and it's a total of basically $116 million. Benita, if you would scroll all the way down to the bottom. Well, stop right here. And so for those who are not familiar with it, so this is the category of homelessness. Then we have multifamily rental, and list all of the projects by contract that we have in Forever Home Doing. And Benita, you can scroll down just a little further. You have some of the projects that the Housing Authority, Mr. Snell, just talked about, that will Forever Home Doing is used as part of the funding for those projects that he mentioned. You mentioned like in line 62, Commerce Street, line 62, 63, 64, in Commerce Street. Excuse me, my light goes out every 5 minutes. And then if you scroll down to downtown revitalization plan, and then there's some areas, as I mentioned previously, where we have not done much work, and particularly as it relates to ADUs and NOAA, we actually have a plan for that. We're gonna have to develop some programs and do some research, but we're not able to do it because of COVID. And then in terms of neighborhood stabilization, one of the things that I would mention is that we did have to, I think the last time that we met, we were sharing that we had relaunched our down payment assistance program, and we had just relaunched it. And I'm proud to say we have actually had 2 closings, our first 2 closings for homes last week, where we were able to provide persons with loans to be able to close on their first houses through our DPA program. If you remember, we had to reinvigorate the program because we used to give about $20,000 in loans, up to 20, but in this market that does not make a difference whether we effective at all. We had to increase it to up to $80,000 depending upon how persons qualify. And we have had a person to qualify at $80,000 to close on the house, and so we are optimistic about that. Benita, you can scroll down further, and scroll down all the way at the bottom. Thank you. So if we look at the Forever Home grand total, and if you can, I want to say move it to the left. If you can, yeah. Good. You can begin to see the total that of the $159 million, and then Benita, move all the way to just keep moving. You can see that the last 2, there's a $160 million column, and then there's one that's FY26. That's the one that's next to it. That's the fiscal year. That's 2 years from now, and what we project to spend. And then there's FY25, and then FY24. And our totals that we've spent already is $46 million. 46.3 million, just under 46.4. And so that's what we spent already. We've been able to keep our projects on track. We were able to get some additional funding from ARPA for some projects. and we still are in need of some additional financing because of increased costs. But I think we're looking to keep those projects on track and include maybe additional having the projects to cut some costs and reduce the number of units. Just had to deal with the issue on that today on one of our projects. So, but I think that we may end up losing our projects, but I don't think that we will, but we're gonna try hard not to be able to keep the projects, to keep additional affordable housing units going. So I would say that, due to COVID, it did slow us down. As you can tell from the work with the Housing Authority, which has slated 58 of the $95 million goes to the Housing Authority. We are making progress and was able to leverage funding to get the CNI. But I think that we have some good prospects ahead of us. All the money is accounted for, and so that's good. But we have to make sure that we deliver on the units. And so what I would do, at our next meeting is actually go line by line and schedule, go into detail on each project and provide more detail. So I'll stop there, Reverend Rivers.
Yes, sir.
But you all have this document, so what I would encourage you to do is to take the time over the next period to look at it and go from there.
Thank you for providing that information, Mr. Johnson. Does anyone have any questions for him? Take most of us a minute to wade through those numbers, but.
Hi, everyone. I am also on the Citizens Advisory Committee, which is my role here. And we just had our meeting on Monday. So I saw Reginald and Benita then as well. Reginald, is the Forever Home Durham funding part of that annual action plan process, or is it separate because it was a bond?
So the annual action plan and what she's talking about is the conversation process that we opened up with the public hearing and federal entitlement funds that we're going to receive for this coming year. That's ESG, Emergency Solutions Grants, Community Development Block Grant, HOPWA, Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS, and then ESG, Emergency Solutions Grants, which basically goes to the homeless area. What she's asking is the annual action process tied with Forever Home Durham? The answer to that question is yes. So one of the inputs to the Forever Home Durham is the entitlements of all of the HUD entitlements from 2019 to 2026. So all of the entitlements for each of those years are part of the Forever Home Durham revenue. So the annual action plan that we're getting ready to discuss, that's 1 year, and that is part of Forever Home Durham.
That makes sense, because I knew it was focused on the federal funds. I didn't want to get my wires crossed. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Additional questions? Okay. Well, then I think we are ready to move into public comments. There are questions from the public. Do they need to put them in the chat?
Okay, 2 of them are on online call-in listeners.
Okay.
So the one that is not, I will put as a panelist.
Okay. Welcome, Laura. If you have a question for any of the staff or the committee, please feel free to unmute yourself. Okay. I'm not hearing any questions coming from the public. If the staff doesn't have any other information, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
All motion if indeed, I assume Reginald and Anthony, y'all are feeling good. So thank you both for your presentations. It was really.
The only thing that I would say, Chair Rivers, is that in the interim, if there are any questions, feel free to reach out to me in the interim, before our next meeting. Or if there's something in particular, that you want to hear from in more detail, let me know. We also we will have an update on our women-owned and minority business, presentation. Will be at the next meeting, they presented in November, but they'll give an update, at that time.
Okay. And we hear from Moss and Ross every other meeting? Will they?
Yes.
Okay. There was a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let me know by the sign of aye.
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 Well, thank you everyone for coming, and what a very efficient meeting we had tonight. We look forward to seeing you in another 2 months for the next meeting.
Thank you.
Everyone. Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Thank you, you too.